Welcome to the Turn One Studio podcast. I'm Elliot Custodio with Turn One Studio, and here we meet with local business professionals. Today's guest, Tommy Panissidi from Techworks. Sir, welcome.
Welcome, brother. I love it. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I'm honored.
Pleasure's all
I've
ours.
been trying to do this for a while, so I'm very glad we're finally able to sit down and get this done.
We're doing it.
Yeah, man.
That's what counts.
Excited.
All right, let's start with business. Techworks.
Techworks.
You guys are an MSP.
Yes.
What is an MSP?
Techworks is a managed service provider, MSP. We take care of things from the ground to the cloud. Everything that has to do with your technology, whether it's computers, infrastructure, cameras, IoT systems, even AI now and automation, we're taking care of that. So we will manage it, maintain it, administer it, give you a full vision plan. Not a lot of companies do that, to where we're sitting down giving you a 1 to 3 to 5 year plan to fully grow your business. We want to partner with you to make sure you're growing successfully and utilizing technology the right way.
Okay. Are there any industries you guys focus on, or you guys are industry agnostic?
We have so many verticals. I would have to say our biggest one, nonprofits, manufacturing. Those are two of the biggest ones because we have a lot of government contracts as well.
Okay.
However, we're not limiting at all. We do CPA firms, law, medical. Every type of vertical has come through our door, and we work with them, and we really try to specialize in their technology. But yeah, depending on what your need is, the size of your company, and what you're looking for, we can provide you support at that point.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, there isn't really a business these days that does not use technology.
You have to. Again, you can't, you'd be a dying breed at that point.
Yeah.
If you're not growing, again, you become a dinosaur. And, our job is to make sure you're not becoming a dinosaur.
So security is obviously a big factor for businesses
Absolutely.
these days, right? Technology can be very vulnerable. So what are you seeing today, and maybe what's on the horizon as far as things business owners like us should look out for, especially in areas where you can help?
Yeah, so staying ahead of the trends and staying ahead of the curve is paramount.
Okay.
You do not want to be a dinosaur in this point.
You don't want to be reactive.
You don't want to be reactive. You have to be proactive. You have to have the right solutions in place, and Techworks helps you get there, whether it be, proactive management, whether it be having your security stack, if you will, totally bulletproof at that point. You want to have redundancies in place. You want to have high availability, which is, redundant firewalls. You want to have all these different things in place that, again, unless you're in the technology field, it's rapidly changing. It's constantly moving and going in a different direction. And it's our job to make sure you're on track and, you're following that and staying ahead of that curve.
And are these practices and the solutions that are behind these practices available to small businesses, or is this enterprise only?
No, it's available to everyone. And,
Okay.
It's our job to navigate and give you the best custom tailored solution. So not every solution is right for everything. You're not going to need, if you're a mom and pop shop, you're not going to need an enterprise level solution unless there's a need for that. But usually there's not. We're here to find you the best cost effective, but the right efficient solution to use to bring you value. And that's the big thing, providing everybody value.
So recently I was talking with another business owner, and we were just talking about technology, and they were happy to say that nothing's really gone wrong, and they have someone helping them out,
Okay.
and they weren't sure they needed them anymore because things never go wrong. And I pointed out, well, is it not going wrong because they're doing their job? It's kind of like having insurance, right? You may not need it, but you need it.
It is the hardest thing. One of the largest tasks that I have in my position is explaining to the clients and justifying, right? So if you are a person who has, or a company who has an MSP or has an IT provider, and you're not having any issues, technically we're doing our job. That's them doing you're making sure that everything is smooth. You're not having disruptions. Do you want to be on the phone with me all day? Probably not. You want to run your business. But then there's also, the checks and balances. And this is something we do. I'm very proud that we do this in-house. We can't police ourselves. So we have outside companies yearly come in, and what they end up doing is we run an audit on ourselves. So it's the checks and balances to make sure we're holding ourselves accountable. When again, someone has to watch through our companies to ensure that, we're protecting them. We have their best interests at heart. So we have people come in to check, and even ourselves to make sure. So you really should do a network assessment or an audit at some point. Just make sure the person who's maintaining this stuff is doing the right thing by you.
They always say that the weakest link when it comes to IT is the human being.
Yes.
So, what do you guys have as far as helping companies deal with their employees and phishing scams?
100%. So again, we use different programs, but one of them, a lot of MSPs use it, security awareness training. The best thing you could do is train your employees to spot these things ahead of time. Nothing is bulletproof. As much as we want it to be, there's still these issues that can pop up. There are ways to get in. There's ways to deceive, and criminals these days are getting smarter about it. So at this point, it's paramount that you have, regardless of that, a SOC, but security awareness as well, to make sure your users are being trained properly and that they understand what they're clicking on, and just do that little due diligence. It doesn't hurt if I saw a spoofed email coming from you to just call you and be like, hey, did you send this? And if you were like, no, forget about it. I'm not opening it.
Right.
Call your IT guy.
So, does that include the fake test phishing emails and seeing which staff member falls prey?
So yes, we do send out the fake emails, and sometimes you're surprised on who clicks on it. And it's human nature. It's totally human for people to browse over, but as long as you keep it in the back of your mind, you're just helping the security's posture. You're keeping everything secure. But yes, people do click on it. We've had some directors, even in our own company, come and click on it. Yeah. And then it's like, oh no, I did that. And it's like, yeah, but just be careful next time. Thank God it wasn't real. But these are things that happen every day. It's human error. And anyone who does not admit to that, even IT companies, they're lying.
Yeah, this stuff is getting more and more intelligent and more convincing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And just the way it's going with AI now, with the voice calls and everything that's moving forward, again, some of the people are staying behind the curve. They're more susceptible to this. If they're not keeping up with it, you have a fake spoof phone call. It might sound like me or you on the phone. We don't even know if that's the case. It could be someone else. So you have to be very careful and really know. Yeah, we're getting to a whole point now where, everyone's worried about it being here. It's here. Yeah. It's here now. So, that's not fear-mongering. We have to just be prepared, understand what the dangers are. I said this in another podcast, actually. A lot of people commented on it. With AI and automation now, and, we're the harbingers of it. We're bringing it forward. You don't know if it's God's work or the devil's work. It's only time will tell.
Yeah. It's a very scary concept.
Yeah, incredibly scary.
So that's actually a good segue. I was going to ask you next. I know IT, like marketing, has evolved a lot over time, even more so with IT, I would say. Where did Techworks start?
So Techworks on the AI front?
No, just as a company. What did you guys start doing back in the day?
So back in the day, it's well before my time, but if I had to take a good guess at it, I do know Chris very well. They started out, it was kind of like a garage-based company, just a few employees, and some of them have grown, and the best part is the longevity. They're very technical, very smart, and they've been with the company for decades. Starting out just with, your server-based local platforms, then the next step was moving over to the cloud, and the cloud seems like it was yesterday. Yeah. I feel like it was less than a decade ago. Cloud's Cloud's the way to go. We're going to move virtualization. That's still the case. But now AI is taking us in a whole other direction, and that's only in a couple of years. Yeah. It has completely spun around. Now that's the new shiny toy, if you will. And that's also the next learning point. So, from our cloud, we went from local to cloud strategy. Now really we have a whole division at Techworks right now where we're spearheading the development, the growth, and how we're integrating it with our clients for AI and automation. And that is going to be a tremendous leap, not only for their, value, but really their finance as well, which is valuable.
So when you talk about helping them implement AI, is it for their productivity or is it within the world of IT? Are you using it for
everything?
IT security? Really?
So everything. Yeah. Security is one, but really when we look at it, how I look at it is, I'll gauge the client and we will talk, what are your top 3 problems right now? Anywhere, just pick them. Let's find a way that we can automate and, alleviate that pain point. Maybe it stops you from hiring other people. I'm not saying that's a great thing, right? But at the same time, if you can pivot that capital somewhere else to fully grow your business further, make some other investments that you wanted to, this is the way we're moving right now. So that's something we're trying to spearhead and really push forward.
Are you finding a lot of interest in private GPTs?
Not really. No. Okay. I mean, what do we mean by that? Private.
And maybe I'm using the language wrong, but setting up maybe
ChatGPT.
LLM is the better acronym to use. Large language models for their own business, a private internal version of their AI versus sharing their data with something public like ChatGPT.
So yes, no. Well, so if there's any way, and what we have learned so far, and just where everything is going, a big key is if you can lock it down, lock it down.
Okay.
Your two-factor authentication, any security procedure or posture you could put in place to make sure that information, that data is covered and secured. You want to take that approach. So it's always the less is more. You always start out small, but we progressively grow through, and we try to get bigger and bigger as we grow. Again, these public platforms, that is what I mean by it's either God's work or the devil's, because it's taking that data and it's wild what it's doing with it. And again, some of it we can't even predict yet. We don't even know where it's going. A lot of it's happening very quickly. So again, the more in control we could keep it, the better. Should it be regulated? Possibly. And that was a very big question that I was asked recently.
Yeah.
And it's you don't want to stop growth, but at the same time, we got to protect ourselves. So it's the balance. It's that yin and the yang, if you will.
Well, it's the question of whether it should be or not, and then the question of how does one go about regulating something like that.
Mm-hmm.
We've kind of seen that with social media for a while.
Yeah. When you see just the progress, again, we don't want to stunt growth, but we also want to have safeguards so kids are safe. We want to also ensure that, the right messages are getting out there. At the same time, though, sometimes that's not the case. And then, you always exchange protection for freedom at that point.
Right.
That's the big one. That's the Liberty Scale right there. Mm-hmm. Protection for freedom. So I think there's a balancing act that, again, I think as a community, as a human being, like we have to sit down and kind of figure out what those guidelines are, what's acceptable, what isn't.
Going back to the cloud for a second, with the cloud, is co-location a thing anymore?
I don't want to say it's dying, but it's kind of dying.
Okay.
Co-location was a thing. I know a couple vendors and companies, they're not even offering it really anymore, as much as they're pumping AWS and other type of cloud-based platforms, private cloud. Co-location, it's still around. You can still find it. But, it's not really the route we're trying to push things. If it makes sense for the business, of course we will. And there would be some instances perhaps that we'd use that in.
Yeah.
But really, we look at it, what is the cloud strategy and what are your 3 biggest problems you're currently having right now that we could possibly resolve by utilizing automation and AI?
How long have you been with Techworks?
I've been with Techworks for 1.5 years, but I've been in this game, I'd say, for about 22 years.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what'd you do before IT?
So before IT, well, it's funny because it was right after high school, and I didn't really have a direction. I didn't have an idea of which way I wanted to go.
Okay.
Like everyone out of high school really does, unless they're that hyper-focused.
Yeah, that's rare.
Yeah, so through my godfather, I got my first IT job, and I didn't do well. I was very green, very new. I didn't understand it well. I loved video games and things like that as a kid, but I didn't really have the skills to progress. But something about me, when I get challenged, I push myself forward. That's always been the way I work and operate. If it's not a challenge, I'm not wired to even enjoy it at that point. So one of the largest things was I wanted to get better at this. And, through time, motivation, challenging myself, I became a network administrator. I became a help desk manager, and it kept growing and growing. And then I came to kind of a fork in the road right there. And when I was in that fork, it was like I can continue technical. But again, I love this so much more. The human interaction piece, having the conversations, really displaying value and being client-facing and helping clients grow. So it was more of an account manager than a VCIO. And from there, eventually, I got into sales. I did not like sales, but Techworks is like, hey, you're going into sales. And honestly, I love it now. But what I love so much is, Chris Coluccio, well, on the team, it's not just sales. I'm also I'm vice president of consulting and business development. So yeah, there's a sales aspect. I work business development side. I work with Connor very well, Susie. But then also there's Jonathan, Jim, all those guys, tremendous knowledge and tremendous skill. The VCIOs, the consultants, the account managers, this whole team to take care of the day-to-day operations to make sure our clients are getting the value that they deserve. They're, getting what they need from us. They're getting the satisfaction, the efficiency on that side. So it's not just about growing the business, it's about helping the business and maintaining what we have. So it's very rewarding. A lot of work, but very rewarding.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Now, a little birdie told me that you were an actor.
Oh yeah. So for a while, I was doing technology and in IT for a good I would say from 2006 all the way through. It started in 2006, so now I just dated myself. But yeah, at some point I sat there. I forgot where. No, it was Vegas. I came back from Vegas, and I'm like, there's got to be a little more than just sitting behind a laptop and a computer and a phone all day. And one of my buddies was in acting, and he really enjoyed it. I'm like, you know what? Why not? Let's try it. So I got into acting. I went to a studio called Maggie Flanagan Studios. She's very well known behind the scenes. She's
Okay.
coached Sam Rockwell, Philip Seymour Hoffman, done some things with Meryl Streep, Johnny Depp.
This is Manhattan?
Manhattan, yes, yes. But she does a lot of Broadway stuff, and she really teaches you how to be an actor. It was a 2-year intensive. I was still working in IT, so that didn't go away. But at night, I'd hop on the train, go all the way to Manhattan, and I'd do these night classes for 2 years. It was fun. I mean, I did a Doritos commercial, a Super Bowl commercial, a couple independent films.
Wow.
At the end of the day, and I'm giving them their props, you have to fully dedicate yourself. You really do to be a
It's still a job.
it's still a job, but what you have to do to get to that next level, even to be seen, because you have a better chance of playing in the MLB or the NBA than being a professional actor.
Right.
It's just like that. But again, I give them a lot of credit. I did not invest. Like, it came to a turning point. Do I want to pursue this? But I was already so accomplished in IT, and again, I had my own aspirations and dreams. So I ended up saying no, but a lot of them are very successful. I see them on TV all the time, whether it be on, TV, a pay-per-view, or they're filming movies right now, and big shout out to them. It's really cool and amazing. I did meet my wife through it. She was an actress and a model, so it was really fun. So at the end of the day,
It was meant to be.
yeah, there's 2 things it did. It gave me my wife, and I'm grateful for that, and that's enough right there. But it really helped me open up. Because a lot of times, especially when we have these conversations, a lot of people, they get nervous or they get sheltered. This really helps me open up, and it really did help me. If you can perform in front of 200 people, you have a conversation like this, or in front of people. I love that nervous energy, and it comes right out. So, yeah.
Do you still act, like, for fun, or?
We do run lines every now and then for fun, but
That's
acting,
cool.
yeah. Me and the wife will play around, and we'll do a couple roles, maybe role play back and forth a bit. But when it comes to the serious stuff, I'm far removed at this point for now.
So what do you like doing for fun?
For fun? Well, I think you know a little bit about that.
It's really more for their benefit.
Yeah, okay. So a little birdie might have told you, I'm very into cars, as you are, and I think that's where our relationship,
Yeah, that's where it started off.
constantly grows. Yeah, that's where it literally started. Hangerfest, I think.
Yeah.
It was last year.
Last year.
So I am the president of the Maserati Club. I am an avid car lover, collector, driver. Absolutely love it. That's one of my side. It's literally my favorite thing to do, other than spending time with family. And at this point, we're a club. As you know, you are in it.
I am.
Aston Martin driver, but you don't have to have.
They let me in.
You don't. You don't have to have a Maserati to be in the Maserati Club. Just don't drive crazy, and be respectful. And we'd love to have you if you want to come down. But yeah, it's a club over 50 years old. Just even our location. 50,
Is that right?
Yeah, just our location, over 50 years old, thousands of members, and 20 different states. And at some point, the previous president, he had to step down due to health issues, and great guy. And props to him for doing it for so many years. And he's like, you know what? I think you should be president. I'm like, you know what? You're crazy. I have no time.
Yeah.
And so I gave it a shot. It was actually Chris Coluccio, my CEO, who said, you should try it for a year. You should just see if you like it, Just do it for a year, and I've absolutely loved it. We're attracting new blood. We're gaining plenty of traction, social media, LinkedIn, Facebook.
You're planning cool events.
We're planning very cool events, and I'm very happy about it. I love the success we're having. I love what we're building. And, the best part is it's like, we're just getting started. It's only been a few months, so where we can be in, a year or two. And it also integrates with Techworks, which I love.
Yeah.
Chris loves holding events like this. He's like, bring the cars down like we do for Hangerfest.
Yes.
So having the cars come down there, us displaying us having a rally over there, and then getting some business along the way and cultivating that, it's a beautiful thing. So, I love where we're going. I'm so grateful that you're on the team.
I'm happy to be part of the team. So you don't need a Maserati to be in the Maserati Club,
No,
but you have a Maserati.
I do.
What made you get a Maserati versus
Yeah.
all the other options that could have been available to you?
So one is finance.
Okay.
Let's just start there.
Well, that's everyone's, right?
Yeah, so there are two cars I was looking at, and the Maserati Gran Turismo is a dream car of mine.
Mm-hmm.
I also had my eye on a Ferrari 360,
Mm-hmm.
and when I was looking at the 360, it's a beautiful car, don't get me wrong. But, it was a little more dated than my Gran Turismo,
Yeah.
and by a little bit, it was kind of like maybe a decade older.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
model year wise, it came out a
Model
decade
year
earlier.
wise. But then it's really, what would I be using it for? And this is my adult mind talking, not the kid who was playing with cars. When I look at it, the Ferrari, it's a beautiful car, and I'll keep reiterating that. But it's more of a track car when you think about it. It's a very tight squeeze. It's not that comfortable for long drives. Living on Long Island, we want the long drive. I'm going, from where I live out to the wineries, Hamptons, Montauk. We take these beautiful drives. And for me to stay like that the whole time in the car, it would kind of be uncomfortable for my back.
Yeah.
And also the features, too. I mean, the Maserati Gran Turismo really just won me over. One, by its looks, but then also for all the features it offers. It's very comfortable to drive. It does have that Ferrari engine, so it's not like I skimped a little bit. It still has that. But just the luxury of it, and then it's still a handcrafted Italian car from Italy, and that was a big portion of it. And I played with them both, I test drove them both, and then I got in the Gran Turismo. I'm like, there's no debate. I mean, this is a timeless car, absolutely timeless. I love it.
Good choice. I looked at 360s.
I know.
Those are nice cars too. All right, so let me nerd out with you for a second. So the Gran Turismo was a good choice. I know with the 360. While it was better than the 348 and the 355 and basically all the other cars because it wasn't an engine-out service, they gave you this little access panel behind the seats in the 360 in order to change the belt. It's a little access panel. But you could technically change the cam belt without taking the engine out. Mm-hmm. You don't have to worry about that with the Gran Turismo. And that was every 4 years on the 360.
You don't have to worry about that on the Gran Turismo. Again, they're basically bulletproof engines and transmissions. They're using the ZF transmission, which is found a lot in the M series and AMGs. Yep. So that already is a tried and true transmission. Yeah. Barely any issues. It has the Ferrari engine block, which is it's basically the same engine block as a Ferrari F430, 458 in California, which because you had a California.
Yeah, I'm gonna regret taking a shot at this. That's the F158.
I think you have the 158, I have the 136.
Okay.
So that might be, they have different variants, but the block itself is the same derivative at that point. But yeah, with the front engine of the car, it's honestly, and I have a few cars, it's the easiest car to work on. When you open up that big bonnet, you have that huge hood. The engine is right there. Everything is easily accessible. I actually do all the work to it myself, as you know.
Good for you.
I do all the maintenance. They have a Schedule A, Schedule B service, which, again, can be astronomical. But if you take a little time, again, we're not doing this. This is not a daily driver. So over the winter, I'll pull it up in the garage, put it on the lift, pour myself a little scotch and, take my time, put on some Metallica and take my time and really have fun with it. And, I'll do it slowly but surely. It's a little daunting because, it's a $50,000 engine. It's a Ferrari engine.
Right.
But, if you take your time with it, just like everything else, if you take your time, just like in things in life, if you do that, you'll be able to really move forward and, get the job done efficiently. And, I've been doing it I had the car for about 8 years, almost 9 years now, and I've been doing it every single year. First time I opened it, I'm like, holy crap, what am I doing with myself? Yeah. And then, you figure it out, and then you try another little project here and there. And now I've done some engine upgrades and performance mods. So, again, I'm learning. And, the ironic thing is I usually do it in that car first, and then I'll go down to my, more cost-effective cars, if you will.
It's funny. As supercars age, the perception is that they become affordable. Unfortunately, a lot of these cars do depreciate a lot from where their MSRP was. But the reality is, affordability is not how much you pay for the car, but how much it costs to own the car. It's a big difference between being able to afford to buy the car and being able to afford to own the car. So the fact that you can do that stuff is the same thing with the Aston Martin world. If you can do stuff on your own, you're not spending $800 for an oil change.
That's all they get you, $800 for an oil change?
Yeah, it's a bargain for us.
Oh, we're at
people.
Schedule A is about $2,400 and Schedule B
that's
is
a
almost
service.
Yeah, service. Okay, yeah. All right, yeah, okay, fair.
But same thing. Even when we have scheduled services, if you can get the parts, which you can online, if you're resourceful enough.
Yeah. They have websites.
And, everything's on YouTube. You could learn how to change certain parts if you have the courage to do so.
Yeah.
It's not difficult. Supercars aren't made from super parts.
They're actually easier to work on because if you think about it, the mentality is these things are in races or they're doing, whatever they're doing. You need to be able to swap parts out quick to get it back on the track.
Right.
So whatever you're doing at that point. So yes, it's all easily accessible to get to. So it's really not as daunting just knowing that each part costs probably 5 or 6 times more than what you'd spend on a regular daily commuter. But once you get the part, and this actually goes back to technology, a great point you made. I don't know where I'd be with this car if it wasn't for YouTube. YouTube has literally walked me through everything. And there's so many, and this is what's great about technology. This is what you don't want to limit because there's so many good people out there who want to share their experiences, share how to do things, and you can literally learn anything right now off YouTube. So, that's growing in a great way. But back to the cars, circling back to that, as we look at it, if you're doing the work yourself, it's much more affordable and it makes more sense. But also at the same time, you want to ensure that, you're doing it right and just take your time with it as you grow.
When it comes to the Maserati world, are there, I forgot what the phrase is. I want to say interchangeable parts, but I don't think that's the phrase. I'll give you an example.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay, is Fiat one?
So like how Aston Martin has Volkswagen, I think it's Volkswagen?
No, it's Volvo.
Or Porsche. Porsche, Volvo.
It's Porsche, Volkswagen, Audi, right? And even Lamborghini these days.
We have a much cheaper option, Ferrari.
But is that true? Is that the only option?
Interchangeable. Yep. Okay. It's Ferrari's my only option.
On the first gen Aston Martin Vanquish, there are 2 fuel pumps, little electronic fuel pumps. From what I understand, each pump is about $3,000 each. Mm-hmm. That pump happens to also be the same pump using a Ford F-150, which sells for $60.
Yeah.
If you're able to compare the part numbers and you realize it's literally the same part, maybe the Aston one has the wings imprinted on it, but it's literally going in the gas tank. You're not going to see it anyway. If you knew that and you were handy, you could save a ton of money.
Absolutely.
And maintain the car a lot more easily.
100%. And that's something often people do. It's the give and take. There is a prestige of having only Aston Martin parts in there. But if you're keeping the car, which I think you are, you're in love with it, again, you do that. Again, save yourself some money. It's the same part, just with a different logo on it.
Right.
Again, if it was in your face, then you might want to question it. You don't want to open up the hood and see a Ford logo on an Aston Martin. Yeah. If it's buried in a gas tank, at that point, it makes sense to do.
Yeah. Well, with some of those cars, you're still going to see, you can still find VW logos in a Lamborghini if you look close enough, right? Yeah. And at the end of so that begs the question, why a supercar? Like, why do you get that? Why do you make that purchase? And I think the answer is you're paying for the design, the elements that are hand-built and handcrafted, and also the legacy, the heritage of the brand, et cetera. But you wouldn't want to be paying, whether it's Maserati, Aston, Ferrari, or whomever, you wouldn't want to be paying them to design windshield wipers.
No.
Right?
You don't want that. But I think you bring up a very good point when you're looking at it. Again, with these, you don't buy a car. You don't buy a car like this to save money. You don't buy it for fuel efficiency. You definitely don't buy it for reliability. But what you buy these cars for is exactly what you said. The feel of the drive, having that, the racing heritage, hand-built Italian supercar, the horsepower, the speed, the luxury, how I look at it is it's the feeling. It's the feeling after I'm done my breakfast in the morning, looking down, looking at the keys with a trident on it, and meet that right there, smiling, just
pride
knowing
of ownership.
I'm about to turn this on. The second I turn the key and that engine roars, I just get a big smile on my face. It's going to be a good day today.
It's pride of ownership,
Absolutely.
and I think it's safe to say you and I are examples of these things weren't given to us. They were the result of hard work. So
trophies.
It means something.
Absolutely.
Right? It's a recognition of a lot that went into this. So it's, I guess what I'm saying is it really is more than the sum of its parts.
Yeah, absolutely. And, a lot of people, and this is what every car person would be able to tell you, guy or girl, it's the feeling, it's the emotional connection to it. it's also the hard work you put in. I mean, we're at the age, we're not given participation trophies. We're not told at the end of the day, hey, great job. Got to take care of yourself. And, you know, those are our trophies, if you will. That's, hey, I have hard work. I have that. And, you know, it really does bring up, you know, it makes you feel, it makes you want more.
Yeah.
It makes you want to keep going. It's good that you should reward yourself. And that's what everybody should do. And I'm glad that we're able to do that, but then enjoy that reward. It's not like we just put the trophy. We don't have garage queens. So we
Right.
definitely don't. So we just don't put the trophy on a shelf. We get to drive it. So
Yeah.
that's the best part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buy yourself cars.
Buy cars, a lot of them.
All right, we should wrap up.
I think so.
Let's circle back to Techworks. Is there anything that you want to share with the audience as far as what they should be asking themselves to know to reach out to you?
Absolutely. So the questions you should be asking yourself as, you know, a company is, my IT provider protecting me the right way? So what we can do is we can run a network assessment, we can run a security assessment to make sure that you're being protected, that you have a 1, 3, 5-year plan and a growth plan. And whether you don't want to go with Techworks and you want to continue with your current provider, like I said earlier, it doesn't hurt to, you know, have someone check on them to make sure they're doing the right thing by you. So give me a call, and my email is tpanissidi@maketechwork.com, and let's see if we can put something together and get you on the right path.
Protect your network. Join the Maserati Club.
Definitely.
Reach out to Tommy. My
All right.
man, this is great.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you.